It turns out you could actually get rid of these bad inflammatory fats that get stored in our body through pooping elimination if you drink the following drink with the following ingredients. This is how to poop out so much bad fats within 7 days after drinking this, and I'm going to give you the ingredients, the recipe, and we'll dive a little bit more into why these fats are so bad for us. Let's start right here. These fats, called vegetable oils, create more inflammation, arguably, than smoking and sugar. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but this study showed that these bad fats, for example, vegetable oil, fried with French fries, created as much aldehydes, which is cancer-causing, as cigarettes. From Dr. Martin Grutfeld, check out the study. The average 5-ounce serving of French fries produced aldehyde contents that are not dissimilar to those arising from smoking a daily allocation of 25 tobacco cigarettes, meaning one French fry cooked in these bad fats is equivalent to a tobacco cigarette smoked when it comes to the potential risk of cancer. That's how bad these fats are. They're in 80% of our food supply. They're in your body right now, creating hormone resistance, disease, diabetes, and of course, brain fog. So how do we poop it out with this drink right here? The first ingredient you're gonna add into a cup of water, 2 cups of water actually, is psyllium husk. Now, psyllium husk, you're going to add 5 grams of this, and research published in the Journal of Nutrition indicates that psyllium supplementation leads to greater excretion of fecal bile acids and total steroids. This suggests that psyllium enhances the elimination of fats and related substances from the body. That's because psyllium soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance in the digestive tract, which can bind to bile acids and these bad dietary fats. This binding reduces the reabsorption of these substances, leading to their increased excretion through feces. Pretty cool. The second ingredient you're going to add into that 2 cups of water is going to be 2 tablespoons of flax seeds. Flax seeds can act as a mild laxative due to their fiber content, helping to alleviate constipation without causing dependency. When ground and mixed with water, flax seeds release mucilage, a gel-like substance that lubricates the intestines and facilitates smoother elimination. And studies back this up. This study, titled "Flaxseed Dietary Fibers Lower Cholesterol and Increased Fecal Fat Excretion," showed the following. Fecal fat and energy excretion increased by 50 and 23% with the flax drink consumption compared to the control group, but only fecal fat excretion was increased with the flax bread compared to the control group. So it works really well to bind those inflammatory fats so you could poop it out into the toilet. The third ingredient is going to be calcium and magnesium, both together. Here's why. Calcium and magnesium aid in eliminating bad fats by binding to fatty acids and bile salts in the intestines, forming insoluble compounds that the body cannot absorb. These compounds are then excreted through feces, effectively reducing the absorption of the dietary fats and cholesterol. This process not only helps to lower the bad LDL small sticky particles, but also overall cholesterol, and supports weight management and decreases the overall caloric intake from fats. This study from the Journal of Nutrition investigated the effects of calcium-fortified drinks on fecal fat excretion in healthy adults. Participants consumed a calcium-fortified beverage, resulting in a significant increase in fecal fat excretion compared to the control group. This suggests that the calcium in the drink binds to dietary fats, forming insoluble complexes that are excreted rather than absorbed. Pretty cool. Magnesium helps too. This research study, published in the British Journal of Nutrition, examined the effects of magnesium supplementation on body weight and waist circumference. The study suggested that magnesium might improve lipid profiles by decreasing triglycerides and very low density lipoproteins levels through increased fecal fat excretion. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And it's not just that study. This study also showed something similar. In the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology, it investigated the impact of magnesium supplementation in lipid profiles in diabetics. The findings indicated that magnesium supplementation led to a significant decrease serum and triglyceride levels, which was attributed to increased fecal fat excretion. So what you want to do is add in to that 2 cups of water, spring water. You're already putting 5 grams of psyllium husk, 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, and then you're going to add a powder that has both calcium and magnesium, 400 milligrams of calcium, 200 milligrams of magnesium. And by the way, I made this simple for you. In the notes of the YouTube video and on the podcast, we put links for all the psyllium husk, the flax seeds, the magnesium and calcium powder down below for you to just purchase. Add that to, of course, a cup of water, 16 ounces of spring water. Mix that together and drink it first thing in the morning to get rid of these bad fats. And I hope I could convince you here that these bad fats are so problematic. You can see since 1909, a dramatic increase in these vegetable oils. We are consuming it at rates that we have never seen before. It is creating weight gain, inflammation, disease. I know Dr. 𝙎𝙬𝘎𝙎𝘎, who's a great friend of mine, medical doctor, Kobe Bryant's nutritionist, by the way, for the Lakers when he used to play. This is her, medical doctor. She's gonna share with you why these vegetable oils are so inflammatory and why this is the food that is killing you and why it is so important to remove them from your diet and of course from your body. Check out this clip with Dr. Kate. Can you explain how these vegetable oils create so much inflammation and chronic disease?
Absolutely. Vegetable oils prevent your cells from providing you with the energy that makes you feel good and avoid disease. Vegetable oils have a unique chemistry to them, different than the kinds of fats that humanity used to eat before the industrial era. Vegetable oils like soy, corn, canola, they are industrial products, and the fatty acids within them are different and detrimental to our health because they are unstable in the presence of oxygen. And what does that mean? That means that they react with oxygen and the energy becomes uncontrollable. Oxygen is a high energy molecule. We need it to generate energy in our cells, but our cells have to control the energy, because without being able to control energy, free radicals fly around in our cells. We develop this state of cellular imbalance called oxidative stress, and that is the root cause of inflammation and cellular degeneration that leads to inflammatory disease and the degenerative diseases that age us prematurely. So it comes down to understanding energy. And it's actually, why is a doctor talking about energy? Right? I don't mean metaphysical energy. I mean literally the energy within chemical bonds. And I would never have understood this concept at all had I not just loved chemistry as an undergrad. And actually, I went into biochemistry as a PhD student at Cornell University because I had nothing to do with medicine. At the time, I wanted to invent microbes that could digest plastic, right? Because plastic is a chemical that is causing problems. Now it's causing even more problems than it used to.
Yeah.
So I loved chemistry, and truly understanding how the body works comes down to understanding the chemistry of what keeps us alive. And that is energy. Just think about how good you feel when you wake up and you feel like you had a good night's sleep and you're full of energy when you start your day. It changes your day. It changes your mindset because you're like, I can take on anything. I can do the stuff I need to do. It's no problem. Life is easy. Life is good. So just intuitively, we always talk about energy as being part of health, but medicine has not connected this. I mean, modern, Western medicine, I'm pretty sure that Eastern medicine talks about energy quite a bit, like energy flow and chi and stuff like that, but it's metaphysical. It's not quite chemical, but it turns out they were right. And so what I've done is just put the chemistry to this intuitive idea that Eastern medicine has been talking about does boil down to energy. And when our diets are full of vegetable oils, we profoundly change how our body can handle energy. And that's what we're going to be talking about. How does that all work? Because it's so important and so fascinating, and it's really not that complicated conceptually.
She is just so brilliant, and I hope that clip illustrated how these vegetable oils make you feel sick and tired. It leads to chronic fatigue. I asked her the question, are vegetable oils worse than sugar and smoking? And here is her response. You're gonna be blown away by this. Check this out. 3 vices. I'm gonna smoke cigarettes each day. Option 1. I'm going to eat sugar, high amounts of processed sugar each day, option 2, or I'm going to eat vegetable oils each day. Which option is worse?
Eating the vegetable oil each day. That was easy. You don't build your body out of parts that you inhale. With cigarette smoke, it's the toxicity begins and ends with the beginning and end of your cigarette. With vegetable oils, or say a French fry, there's toxins in the French fry, but then there's also unoxidized polyunsaturated fatty acids that are going to end up in your body fat. And that's where we get to a whole other layer of metabolic impacts that go beyond just the direct toxic effects and start to get into what we touched on earlier with, well, what does it mean when your body fat is full of stuff that your mitochondria can't use for energy? So that's why it's worse than cigarettes. And it's worse than sugar too, because, sugar is empty calories, but empty calories build body fat. Sugar turns into normal body fat that humans have carried around for a long time. What do I mean by that? What's normal body fat? I mean, the fatty acids are monounsaturated and saturated mostly. That is supposed to be what we have in our body fat. But when we eat PUFAs, they end up in our body fat as PUFAs. And so these days, instead of just like a 5% PUFA in our body fat, many people are walking around with 40%. And that's where they get into this other layer of metabolic problems that, has to do with diabetes and all these tragic, terrible diseases, cancer, Alzheimer's, and so on.
That is super interesting. I did not know that about sugar turning into saturated and monounsaturated fat. What about high fructose corn syrup? Does it also turn into that, or is that something different? Same thing.
I mean, table sugar and high fructose corn syrup are almost identical molecularly, because high fructose corn syrup is just higher fructose than regular. And so, but it's a combination of sucrose and fructose, just like table sugar is a combination of sucrose and fructose. So, and when you break it down, it's the same. Like once your body can't tell whether a molecule of fructose came from a banana or from high fructose corn syrup. It's identical. So it's really, when it comes with sugar, it's like the total amount, right? So I don't advocate, you can get all the sugar you want as long as it comes from fruit. No.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. She believes they're worse than sugar and smoking. I agree with her. And the reason why? These vegetable oils, the half-life is 680 days, about 2 years. Meaning, if you stopped eating them today, I'll give you a whole list in a couple of minutes, 2 years later, half of them will remain in your body fat, around your mitochondria, creating inflammation and weight gain, unless you drink the special drink I outlined for you today to eliminate it faster. So you could take this and dramatically speed up the process with what you learned today. One of these bad fats is canola oil, found everywhere. And if you just saw or heard how canola oil is processed, you will be disgusted. It's a nasty process. These fats are so unstable. Imagine adding heat and chemical agents to these fats, putting it in a bottle and serving it to us at restaurants and at your grocery store. It is disgusting. Check out this clip on how canola oil is made. Check this out.
The seeds enter a roller mill. They pass between 2 steel rollers, which crush them into thin flakes. A conveyor then feeds the flakes into a screw press. It has a large revolving screw-shaped shaft enclosed within a slotted cage. As the shaft turns, its threads squeeze the flakes with high pressure, forcing out the oil, which then drains out through the slots. The remainder is still trapped in the pressed flakes, now referred to as canola cake. The cake exits the other end of the press and moves on to a second extraction. This one, a 70-minute wash with a solvent. This chemical extraction process removes all but a trace of oil. The factory then grinds the cake into protein-rich meal, which it sells as animal feed. First, they wash the oil for 20 minutes with sodium hydroxide. During this wash cycle, they spin the oil at high speed so that the centrifugal force separates the natural impurities, which the factory later sells to soap manufacturers. After this cleaning process, the canola oil is visibly clearer. However, it still contains natural waxes, which make it look cloudy. So the next step is to cool the oil to 5 degrees Celsius. This thickens those waxes so they can be filtered out. The waxes don't go to waste either. The factory uses them to produce vegetable shortening. In the factory's lab, technicians recreate production on a small scale to ensure performance and quality. Meanwhile, back in the factory, after washing and filtering the oil, they bleach it to lighten the color, then use a steam injection heating process to remove the canola odor. The oil is now fully refined and ready for bottling.
And here are the main problems with these bad fats. It's the process of them, the adulteration of these bad fats. You just saw a video or heard a video on how that works. Processed foods need a longer shelf life, and they add these seed oils to them. So a lot of packaged foods have these bad fats, and even Whole Foods supermarket, I'm calling you out, the hot food bar, loaded with these vegetable oils. Stay far away. The process when you consume these vegetable oils shut down oxygen transfer, so that leads to cancer and disease, and it also creates a high imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fats. All are not good. If you're looking to burn fat, vegetable oils are one of the leading causes to visceral fat and belly fat. This is a really inflammatory type of fat that leads to insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, cancer, chronic disease. Allow me to illustrate to you how this works. This is exactly how vegetable oils create inflammation and disease and weight gain inside of your body. This right here is a cell. You have 50 to 70 trillion cells inside of your body. Every cell has a lipid bilayer around it called the cell membrane. That's actually where the intelligence is. It's the bodyguard of your cells. The life begins and life ends at the cell membrane. Within your cells, you have, of course, your DNA nucleus. These are the genes you were born with. It is true, you cannot change the genes you're born with. However, you can change the expression of those genes via epigenetics. Then we have these little organelles inside of your cells. There are hundreds to thousands called mitochondria. The mitochondria are little battery packs that produce energy. That energy is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The healthier your mitochondria, the more energy you produce, the more energy you have, the more fat you burn. Pretty much every chronic disease out there is linked to mitochondrial dysfunction. We want healthy, thriving mitochondria. Vegetable oils disrupt their mitochondrial poison. I'm going to share with you a little bit more. Every cell has these receptor sites. They're called integral membrane proteins. We're going to refer to them as cell phone antenna signals. What do I mean by that? Well, these receptor sites that are integrated, embedded into your cells, they need to receive messages, communication from your hormones, from your nutrients, and of course, oxygen needs to get into the cell. Without oxygen, you create cancer. So these are the messengers that are being sent. Let's focus on fat loss here. We can think about hormones, all right? We have a few fat-burning hormones. We have testosterone, we have leptin, we have human growth hormone, we have a few others that I will not list right now, but 3 of them was enough. These are all sending signals to your cells. The receptor sites hear the message of burn fat. And then the mitochondria uses that for energy, burns fat, you feel good, you lose weight, you look lean, you extend your lifespan. But here is the problem. There's one thing that blocks this process, and that thing is inflammation. When I say inflammation, I'm referring to cell membrane inflammation. Inflammation around the cell membranes is chronic inflammation, different than a sore shoulder or a sprained ankle. That's acute inflammation. It's the chronic cell membrane inflammation that is the worst. When you consume the following 9 fats I'm going to share with you that are called vegetable oils, guess what happens? These vegetable oils, they end up gunking up the cell membrane and the mitochondrial membrane, creating hormone resistance, blocking your fat-burning hormones and other hormones and oxygen and nutrients, but especially your hormones, from getting into your cells and burning fat. Then you start to gain weight no matter how much you exercise. Then you have brain fog, low energy levels, and eventually insulin resistance, diabetes, cancer, and heart disease, because these vegetable oils, they stay in the body fat for years unless you drink the drink I talked about today. That's why these vegetable oils cause weight gain, because they block your fat-burning hormones by creating cellular membrane and mitochondrial membrane inflammation. So what are these 9 fats we want to remove? Now, you probably have these fats inside of you already, no big deal. because your body could remove it faster with the drink I outlined, but let's talk about the ones you want to avoid starting today. Here is a list of the 9 fats you want to avoid. Remove all of these, avoid these right now, they're everywhere by the way. Canola oil, called rapeseed oil in the UK. Corn oil, we have soybean oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, refined peanut oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, rice bran oil, and yes, fish oil, although it's not a vegetable or seed oil. Highly inflammatory, highly stable. These are the 9 fats you want to avoid as much as possible. You want to swap those for stable saturated fats and monounsaturated fats that actually make up your cell membranes, lower inflammation, and help you burn fat faster. These are going to be olive and avocado oil. These are fruit-based oils, grass-fed butter and ghee, saturated fats, duck fat, lard, coconut oil, beef tallow, saturated fats. These are much healthier for you. Now, when I go to restaurants, I use this seed oil allergy card, which you could scan and get for free, and I just show it to the server. Look, I'm allergic to these bad fats, and it shows the bad fats. Please swap for the safer alternatives. Keep me safe. Please make those swaps, and it works like a charm. If you go to seedoilcard.com or just scan this on the screen, you can get a free digital download, show it to the server on your phone, or print it out like I did right here. And I'll drop a link for it in the notes down below, seedoilcard.com. All right, let's get into some of the questions I get asked that you submitted here on YouTube. First question is this: I eat the following diet, a carnivore diet. I don't have fiber, Ben. Can I do that same drink with just the water, calcium, and magnesium without the psyllium husk and the flax seeds? The answer is yes, you can, and I get it. Fiber is way overrated. In this case, it could actually help with removing some of the fats, but if you're doing carnivore and avoiding fiber, which I get, I do that sometimes too, then you could simply have the 16 ounces, 2 glasses of water with the 400 milligrams of calcium, 200 milligrams of magnesium, and mix that all together. Next question is, what else can I do to remove these bad fats faster? Autophagy will help you remove these bad fats faster. Autophagy is a process where you clean out the junk within your cells. It's a cellular cleanup process. It's similar to a refrigerator that you open up and you see all the groceries inside your refrigerator. They all have what? Expiration dates on them. What would happen if you let every single grocery inside of your refrigerator expire, but you don't throw them away? You kind of just shove them towards the back of the fridge, shove them in the drawers, buy new fresh groceries, put them in front of the expired groceries, close the door, and come back a few days later and open up that refrigerator. What are you gonna see? A toxic environment. Disease will manifest in that environment. Well, the human body is like that refrigerator. You have cells, mitochondria, proteins, and fats that all have expiration dates on them. Autophagy is the process of removing the expired groceries, the expired cells. So how do you activate autophagy? Autophagy seems to be occurring most of the time, but in order to get the most benefits and enhance autophagy, there are 3 main ways to do it. Fasting and different fasting schedules are great for autophagy. Exercise and strength training, great for autophagy. The third are senolytics, which are certain ingredients like turmeric, reishi mushroom, curcumin, ginger, polyphenols also activate autophagy. So those are, any way you get autophagy, you're gonna enhance the process of removing the bad fats through that cellular cleanup process. The third question is, are all seed oils bad for us? I'm glad you asked the question because not all seed oils are bad for us. Not all omega-6 fats are bad for us. It's only the processed seed oils that are bad for us. And unfortunately, 95% of the seed oils out there at the restaurant, in the supermarket, are processed seed oils. But I'll give you an example. If you could find an organic, cold-pressed sunflower seed oil, which is a seed oil, but it's organic, cold-pressed, and you don't heat it up, you use it as salad dressing, that's fantastic. Anti-inflammatory, great for you. Same thing for a organic, cold-pressed grapeseed oil, but it's hard to find those. So not all seed oils are bad, most of them are processed, and that's why we want to avoid the list that I gave you earlier. I hope this lesson was valuable. Get those bad fats out of your body, share this episode with a friend, and thanks for reaching the end of the lesson here. And by the way, if you love this lesson, I put together a recent video on 10 foods that burn belly fat. These are anti-inflammatory, delicious tasting foods, and you could watch this video right now. Here's a clip, and I'll see you in that next video. Numerous studies show how beneficial olive oil is, not just for your health, but for fat loss, weight loss resistance, insulin resistance, and also diabetes. The results indicated that the group consuming the extra virgin olive oil had 80% higher fat loss than the control group. Another study done on obesity